Hello everyone, I am Dr. Mamta Arora. So in today's session, we will understand the algorithms and flowchart. So the content that we are going to cover is what is an algorithm, what is a flowchart, what are the various components used to draw a flowchart. We'll take one simple example, then we'll also discuss the real life example, and finally we'll say if you want to create any flowchart in any of the design tool or the Adobe Express, then what step we have to follow for the same. Coming to the next slide. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure or the set of rules that are designed to perform a specific task to solve a particular problem. So basically it is consist of a set of instructions or the steps that is used to perform a specific task. Okay, so algorithms are used in various fields, including mathematics, computer science, and everyday problem solving. Algorithms are also the fundamentals to the computer science and programming. So now we basically deal with the algorithm in everyday life, right? But we are new to this term. Now let us suppose take one very simple example. When we take any Maggie, then at the behind of the Maggie wrapper, it is written the recipe of cooking a Maggie, right? So that step-by-step instruction is basically consist or comprises of algorithm. So now, what is a flowchart? A flowchart is nothing but a visual representation or a process of the algorithm, right? So if we have designed one algorithm, now that algorithm, if I need to present it pictorially or need to present it graphically, then that basically known as a flowchart. So now why to use a flowchart when we are clear about the algorithm? Because it provides a clear and visual representation of the complex processes, making it easier for the individuals to understand the sequence of the steps or actions involved. Second, the flowchart serves as a universal language that can be understood by the different stakeholders, including the non-technical audiences as well. Third, the flowchart help in breaking down the complex processes into the manageable steps, which allow for the detailed analysis of each and every component. So flowchart is nothing but the pictorial, or we say that the graphical representation of an algorithm. So we'll discuss with example for more clarity. So now as we are saying that the flowchart is a pictorial representation, right? So we should know what are the symbols that is used for drawing a flowchart, right? So here you can see we are having a oval symbol, right? What this represent? This is also known as a start and stop or start and end symbol. This is basically used to indicate the beginning and the ending of a flowchart. Next, we are having the arrows. Now, arrows are basically used to connect the different shapes in the algorithm. So this is also known as a line connector that basically shows the relationship between the representative shapes. Then we are having the parallelogram. Now what does this parallelogram represents? Whenever we want to do anything, either we require the input and we want to display the output. So this input output entry is basically represented by a parallelogram. Similarly, the process is represented by a rectangle. Let us suppose if I am saying I want to do the addition of two numbers. So that addition C is equals to A plus B will be represented in this rectangular box because it is a process. Now, next, if we want to show any decision, let us suppose if we are saying that if a candidate is having the age greater than 18, so he or she is eligible for casting the vote. Otherwise, he or she will not be eligible for casting the vote. So if we have to take some decision or we have to represent it, then we take a diamond shape. So we'll discuss the usage of each and every component in the next coming slides. So now next, we are taking here example. We need to write an algorithm to find the area of a circle. Now, as we know that the area of a circle, for the area of a circle, what do we require? Only a radius, because its area is consist of pi r square, or we used to say pi into I r into r, right? So now we'll just develop one algorithm for calculating the area of a circle, and then we will just create the flow chart. We will present that algorithm in the visual representation by the means of a flow chart. Coming to the next slide. So now, write an algorithm to find the area of a circle. So it is a 3-step procedure. First, we need to take the input. Now for calculating the area of a circle, we know that the formula is pi r square, where r is the radius. So we need to get the radius of the circle. Once we are having that radius, we can fit into the formula area is equals to pi into radius, and then we can display the area. So this is the simplest way of calculating the area of a circle, and we have just noted down in the step 1, step 2 and step 3. Now we'll just try to show you the algorithm, show you the flowchart of the same algorithm. So now here you can see if you want to convert this information like input, calculate the area and the output, then which symbol we have to use. The oval represents the starting and the ending. So the start and end has to be written in the oval shape. Then we require the input of the circle. Then we require the radius of the circle. So for that, we need a parallelogram. So we have created one parallelogram and we have written input radius. After that, in this step 2, this is a process which is represented by a rectangle. We will simply say calculate area is equals to pi is replaced by 3.14 into radius. And finally, what we know, we want display the output. So we will say display equal to area and end. So this is a pictorial representation, or this is a flowchart corresponding to this algorithm. Okay, so now we'll just try to take one real life example. Now here, what we need to do, we need to find the grade of a student based on the criteria of the marks. So here you are saying that find the grade of a student by reading the marks or by taking the percentage. So here are certain conditions on the basis of which we are assigning the grade to the student. If the percentage is greater than 80%, then we say grade A. If it is lies between 80 to 60 bracket, then grade B. If it is lies between 60 to 40 bracket, then grade C. And if the student get the marks which is below 40, that means he or she is failed. So now we need to write algorithm for the same. So here, what we are going to do, step 1 will be start. We will read the marks or the percentage on the basis of which we are assigning the grade. So now we have these conditions. If the percentage is greater than 80, then grade A. If it's between this range, then grade B. So here we have to take the decision. So for taking the decision, we will be representing it in a diamond shape. We'll discuss it when we'll discuss the flowchart. So here we are writing the step 3, simple. If marks is greater than equals to 80, then you need to put the grade equal to A and simply end. So go to the step 7, that is display the grade and stop. But if the marks is greater than 60 but less than 80, then you need to put the grade equals to B, and again you will go to the step 7, that is display the grade and stop. But if the marks is greater than equals to 50 and less than equals to 60, then we have to assign a grade C and we'll go to the step 7 and then stop. Similarly, if the marks doesn't lies in between this range, that means the marks is less than 40, so we will simply display student is failed and we will display the grade and we'll stop. Now we'll just convert this into the flow chart. So here we know that for reading the marks, we require the input symbol. So that will be a parallelogram. So for step 3, 4 and 5, we are taking the decisions. So here we require a diamond symbol. And finally, for displaying the grade, we require the output symbol, that is the parallelogram. And we'll just stop. So now coming to the next slide. So here we are just starting. We will read the marks. Now we'll put the decision boxes because we were having 3 decisions. If marks is greater than 80, then display grade A. If marks lies between this range 60 to 80, display grade B. If the marks lies in the bracket of 40 to 60, display grade C. But if none of the above condition met, then you have to just simply display fail. And all these steps will lead to the stop. So this is how you can create a flowchart for any real life example. So now there are certain steps if you want to create the flowchart in the Adobe Express or in any design tool, like you can create in Canva or any other design tool. So first of all, you have to open that application. If Adobe Express, then open the Adobe Express. You need to create a new project. You need to select the template, add the shapes, add the text, connect the shape by using the connector, and simply save and export. So these are the steps that you need to follow to create a flowchart. But be sure, before creating the flowchart, we are ready with the algorithm. So thank you for attending this session. Stay connected.